Recursion is a very simple topic, yet 90% of beginners don't know how to visualize recursion. That is why some struggle to write recursive functions, or even completely ignore writing recursive functions. So sit back, because today we will explain recursion from zero to make sure it finally clicks with you. Recursion, by definition, is a function calling itself multiple times. The idea behind recursion is that you have a big problem that's being solved by cutting it down to smaller pieces and solving each of these pieces separately. For example, you want to calculate the sum of the numbers from 1 to 3. Instead of writing 1 plus 2 plus 3, let's do it in how a recursive function would solve it. So you pass 3 to the function sum, meaning calculate the sum from 1 to 3. It will run and begin by saying 3 plus and call itself again, but this time with a range from 1 to 2. Sum 1 to 2 means 3 plus 2 plus sum of 1. Sum of 1 means 3 plus 2 plus 1. You can see how we stopped at 1 because this is our base case, meaning it is a condition that stops the recursive function from calling itself infinitely. The most simple recursion example is to find the factorial of a number. It is very simple. The idea is to take the number and multiply it with all the numbers before it, excluding 0. If I want to write it as a function, I will first think this function needs a return type of integer and a parameter of type integer too. Once we have these configured, we need to think of the actual logic, how the recursive function will calculate the output. If you call factorial 3, you want it to start multiplying 3 times factorial of 2. Then you want it to say 2 times factorial of 1. And since we reached the base case, we return 1. So we could say the recursive part will be return n times factorial of n minus 1. But there is no base case in this function, which will cause the recursive function to loop forever. So we need a base case, which will be if n is equal to 1, then we will return 1. And since we're not calling the function again, this base case will stop the recursive call and allow the system to fall back and calculate the output. So I know maybe it's not clear yet on how recursive function worked. That is why we will see how it will work using a stack. So at first we call the function factorial of 4, for example. Since 4 is not equal to 1, then it is not the base case. So it will jump and say 4 times factorial of 3. We will add this to the stack. Now what does factorial of 3 means? It means 3 times factorial of 2. Now again, we will add this to the stack. Now factorial of 2 means 2 times factorial of 1. And again, what does factorial of 1 means? If you look closely, when we run it sequentially, factorial of 1, you can see that it is the base case. So the base case actually resolved to true. So it will return 1. Great, now we filled our stack, and since there is no more recursive calls, we will start popping elements from the top of the stack and calculate the output. Watch this. Factorial of 1 resulted in 1, so we can replace factorial of 1 with 1, which 2 times 1 results in 2. Now factorial of 2 resulted in 2, so we replace it with 2. Factorial of 3 resulted in 6, so it will be replaced by 6. And in the end, we will get the factorial of 4, which is equal to 24. Great, now we know how it works internally. So we need to apply this or apply our knowledge in a simple exercise. So I want you to take a few minutes now to think of a recursive solution to reverse a string. So go ahead, pause this video and make sure to do this. So I hope you took the time to actually find a solution for this problem. So let's go ahead and see it. In my case, I want to reverse a following string, which is hello. First of all, I'm going to create the function signature. So I want this function to return a string, and I'm going to call the function reverse str. In my case, this reverse str will take 2 parameters. The first parameter will be string my str, so basically the string I want to reverse. And the second will be the length of the string. I'm going to call it length str. I'm using this variable to keep track of the indexes of the string. So I want to be able to access each element by its index, but starting from the end. So watch what I mean. Down here, what I'm going to do is say cout, and I'm going to say reverse str, and I'm going to pass it the string s and s.length -1. So what I'm trying to do here is that I'm trying to assign the length minus 1 of my string to this parameter, and the reason behind it is because I want to start from the end. I want to start with the last character inside my string, which is hello, which is O, and I want to each time decrement the length to start traveling between the string and take those characters until I reach the first character in the string. So this is my solution. But how will we do it recursively? So first of all, let's think of the base case. If I'm going to create the base case for this, what will it be? So I just told you I want to stop at this character, at the character H, the first character in my string. It is actually at index 0. So we discovered our base case. I'm going to say this: if length str equal to 0, this is my base case. I want to stop right here. Regarding the implementation, we will fill it later on, but just understand that this is my base case because I want to stop at this element, which is at index 0. Now let's go ahead and build our recursive case or recursive function implementation. So I'm going to say return right here, and what I'm going to do, remember the factorial exercise, it is the same thing here. Instead, we're working with strings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say my str, and I'm going to use the bracket notation to access the characters from that string, and using the length str, I'm going to access each character by itself. Now at first, length str will be, for example, this string is 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 4. Then what I'm going to do is I'm accessing this element. So at first I'm accessing O. So this right here, at the first iteration, will get O, which is this character. And what I'm going to do with this character, I'm going to concatenate it with reverse str. I'm going to pass again my str, but this time the length str will be decremented by 1. And this is it. This is the recursive call. Each time I decrement my counter by 1, I will be able to traverse this string in a reverse manner by accessing each of these characters in a reverse manner. And eventually I'm going to reach this base case, which is equal to 0. Now we do have a problem here. My str index length str returns hr, and I want to return a string. So in order to fix this in C++, I'm going to use the string constructor, pass here a value of 1, which means what is the length of my string that I'm trying to create. And since I'm only accessing hr, which is one character, that's why I placed 1 right here, since hr is just one character. So I'm trying to convert this char into a string. This is my solution on C++, and make sure of course to drop in the comment sections your solution on any language that you used. But for my solution on C++, I'm going to have to do this. So yeah, and now let's go ahead and fill in the base case, which is very simple. So now what I want to return here is the following. Since the base case means here that when I reach the first element in my string, I want to stop. So what does that supposed to mean? It means that I want to access my str index 0, so the first element in this string. And of course, for C++, let me just convert it to a string, and there it is. So this is the implementation, this is the function all by itself. So let me go ahead and run this function. So I run my program, we have hello here. If we reverse it, we will get the following string. So yeah, this was the exercise. Make sure again to post your solution of this exercise in any language you did, and I would love to see what you guys thought of it. Alright, this is it about recursion. I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.